Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ryan, your host, and I'm welcoming you to my review of Ben of the River. This is a Western from 1952 and is released under the Universal International's era of films. And like those other ones, this is the first movie from that International's era that I'm watching in glorious Technicolor. So yeah, this is a solid Western. Let's actually run down the cast in this. So we get the great James Stewart, Jimmy Stewart most people call him. You also get Arthur Kennedy, Julie Adams, Rock Hudson, with Laurie Nelson, J.C. Flippin, Steve Finchin, and Henry Morgan. Also has a small role by Aunt Bee herself. I can't pronounce her name. Beatrice. I can't think of her name right now. Aunt Bee. So yeah, Ben on the River. Let's talk about Ben on the River. A man with an aging past, Jimmy Stewart guides a band of pioneers from Missouri over the Oregon Trail to a new life in the Columbian River basin. In this Western adventure directed by Anthony Mann, when the settlers are cheated out of their supplies and cattle, Stewart crosses rivers, climbs mountains, and outguns greedy hitchhikers to ensure their survival through the first winter. Along the way, he is double-crossed by ally Arthur Kennedy and assisted by the handsome San Francisco gambler Rock Hudson, beautiful farmer daughter Julie Adams, veteran entertainer Stephen Finchin is featured as a riverboat cabin boy. Yeah, the back of the DVD doesn't really tell you much. So essentially, Stewart plays he plays a guy named Glennie. I can't think of his last name. This was actually based on a book called Ben of the Snake by Bill Garlick. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. As I said, it was directed by Anthony Mann, who directed another Jimmy Stewart Western, which I do have in the collection, The Far Country, and I will get to that one soon. So, it was produced by Aaron Rosenberg. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So, this is a pretty solid Western, though. And, yeah, this is interesting because the two actresses in here were going to star in two other Universal International movies. We'll get to those eventually. So, Julie Adams plays the love interest that has a relationship with James Stewart's character. So along the way, you got Arthur Kennedy. This would be decades before he would have a supporting role in David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia. So he plays a friend of his who soon becomes an ally. So, like I said before, this is very solid. Although there are a lot of nitpicks and a lot of problems with this that hinders it from almost being a great Western. One, the lighting is not good. There are times where the lighting looks really bad, like it has that very blurry effect. I don't like that. At times it can feel a little slow. When it comes to my Westerns, I want a little bit of action. Now don't get me wrong, I have covered a few Westerns. My all-time favorite and longtime Hit UV viewers know Father Goes West is my all-time favorite movie. That also had Jimmy Stewart in a supporting role, which would also be his last movie. This right here, I feel Jimmy Stewart is really good in that role. By the way, this is under the Universal Western Collection. That's what I'm watching. I do have a few others. Like I said, I have Far Country, which was a Universal Westerns Collection release, and I have Shenandoah, another Jimmy Stewart movie, which I do have in the collection under Universal Westerns Collection. What's cool about that release is basically what you get the film poster on the back of the DVD, anything that's under that Universal Western Collection. So that's pretty cool. Ben of the River is interesting, and Aunt Bee does play a supporting role. She's like the woman that meets up with Jimmy Stewart's character. Again, I'm not sure what his character's name is. It's Glenn. I don't even know his. I'm sorry. I'm terrible at these. See, I'm terrible at these classic movies and knowing the characters' names. But like I said, the lighting is not very good. Henry Morgan, before he became Colonel Potter in MASH, before MASH, he was also in Dragnet, but he plays another ally that Arthur Kennedy, he teams up with Arthur Kennedy. So it does start out with Arthur Kennedy, who is friends with Jimmy Stewart's character. So he's like, eventually they're like friends, but eventually he goes rogue, and he basically becomes a backstabber. Also, Rock Hudson plays another character. His name is Trey. I know that name for sure. And he's sort of like the gambling. He's one of those gamblers, but he becomes Stewart's friend and teams up with him. So there's a scene where Rock Hudson's character Trey is at the cards. They're playing. He's a poker player. So Julie Adams is like, I hope you lose. Also, interesting enough, Laurie Adams plays another woman who has a relationship with Rock Hudson's character. I want to talk about the two actresses in this. Laurie Nelson and Julie Adams. Both of them would go on to star in the two. If you're a Universal Monsters junkie, you'll know Julie Adams a couple years later in 1954 would go in and jump in the water with the creature in Creature Black Lagoon. The Creature with the Black Lagoon. I got a little tongue-tied there. So she would be the girl that would jump in. I love the scene in that movie, but I don't have the movie, so I can't say. But Laurie Nelson would also jump in the water with the Creature in Revenge of the Creature from 1955. Both from the Universal International's era, and both movies in black and white. But we'll get to them when I do watch them. I want to get them. I want to get a copy of those two movies down the road. But I digress. Let's continue talking about Ben of the River. So both leads, I really think both women are good for what they're given. Honestly, I think Laurie Nelson is the best. I think Julie Adams is gorgeous. I mean, if you've seen the photo of her in that white swimsuit from Creature, from the Black Lagoon, that is one gorgeous woman, I will say. Laurie Nelson's the same with Revenge, which was the first movie to be shot in 3D. She's extremely gorgeous, and both ladies are just really gorgeous. I think personally, I like Laurie Nelson better. She's not in that much, but she's really good. Like I said, the cinematography is great. It's that lighting that I have the biggest issue. If they didn't have that really bad fluorescent lighting and didn't have that sort of 3D pinkish effect. Now, this movie is 1954, so I don't know how the technology would have worked, but it looks really awful. I don't know if it's the DVD or the transfer that Universal did in 2003 when this was released, but it just bugged me. It became a giant eyesore, and aside from that, everything else is great. Only in a couple shots. I'm not saying this is a bad movie, and I think Jimmy Stewart works good as a Western actor. The only one I've seen him in that he was in a Western was Shenandoah, which I do own, and I do plan on covering that movie for the channel down the road. But I wanted to cover more from that library, and I love Westerns. As I said many, many times, Westerns is one of that genre I just absolutely adore. The scenery, the cinematography, the mountains, everything about it is great. It's just when it comes to lighting is the biggest issue. But if you can ignore that, I just think this is a good movie. Stephen Finchett, who's the riverboat cabin boy, he's the guy who drives the riverboat. He's okay in this. Honestly, if you would take them out of the movie, it honestly would have not mattered. But as a matter of preference, if you, like me, and you're into westerns or even classic movies, I could probably recommend this. It's good. So I don't have much to say. I'm trying to think of anything else I can mention. The fight scene is good. Another thing that I'm kind of getting sick and tired of is the cliche I love the most. Fighting in the water stunts, and like fist fighting near water. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of like those types of movies. It's like I said about movies having characters go to space. It's the same problem I have westerns where they're fighting in the water. They're duking out, they're fighting each other. The climax at the end, well, not great. It does have a good payoff. When I was watching the film, I thought, oh, Rock Hudson, he's good in this. He does get shot, but he gets shot in the ear. I thought that I was like, oh, did they kill him off? And I was wrong. I'm not going to tell you anything else of that. I think I got everything I had to mention about it. At the end of the day, I could sort of recommend Bend of the River. It's not a great Western. I've seen so many good Westerns. It's your lighting. I can give you a few classic movies that the lighting is good. I'll just name a few. Silverado, Professionals, Cat Ballou. All those had good lighting, but they were made, well, two was made in the 60s and one was the 80s, and all three of them being Columbia movies. I feel if any other studio, if this was like a Columbia Pictures movie, it probably wouldn't have the lighting issues. But for Universal Internationals, the lighting just is a bit off. I don't know who did cinematography. The screenplay was done by Bowden Chase. But yeah, if you can ignore that main issue, then yeah, check out Bend of the River. It's a really solid Western. I just cannot get over that lighting. This is an almost near masterpiece. Because already I was enjoying it. But the fluorescent lighting, the pink effect, and just the bad lighting only came down to, if you can ignore the bad lighting, this is a solid Western. And it just shows you how Jimmy Stewart is a great character actor. And going from doing movies like It's a Wonderful Life and making a lot of movies for like Alfred Hitchcock, him stepping into the Western genre, I think Jimmy Stewart works great as a Western actor, not so much as an actor in other movies that are not related to the Wild West. But if you can ignore all that, as I said again, guys, check out Bend of the River. It's definitely worth a watch if you like me and you love Universal and you love Westerns and you want to go dive through the catalog, especially from the Internationals era, then yeah, you're going to want to check out Bend of the River. So yeah, let's go ahead and rate Bend of the River. I'm going to give Bend of the River a 3 out of 5. It's the lighting issues that hinder it down. I just cannot. At times it feels slow, and the lighting, which it's not a great Western. Well, scratch that. It's a solid Western, but it's solid. I can't give it no more than a 3 out of 5. But if you really want to check this out, you might get more out of it if you can ignore the lighting. Then yeah, check out Bend of the River. I think this movie is really good. It's not a standout though. I'll have to watch The Far Country down the road and Shenandoah. Now I've seen Shenandoah once, so I'm gonna have to check it out again to see maybe if that was any good. And I do have a copy of that, so we'll get to that when we get to that. So yeah, go check out Bend of the River. Solid Western. If you're a fan of Westerns, you might want to check it out. If you want, like me, and you're a big Universal junkie, that's what this channel is devoted to, then yeah, you might want to check it out that way. I can recommend it to people who are into classic Westerns and never seen old Westerns. I've been really getting into Westerns lately. So this is a movie I would probably say, yeah, I can recommend it. So yeah, that's my review of Bend of the River. thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like the content of the channel, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, ring the bell to get all my video notifications so you don't miss a single video. I'm on Letterboxd, guys, so you can check me out on Letterboxd. I got tons of I rate the movies before I review them, and I got a ton of other content, like not only collection updates, but as well as this series and my Vlog City series. So head to the channel, check what you can, and see what you like on the channel. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, and ring the bell to get all the video notifications so you do not miss a single video. So you don't miss a single video on the channel. So yeah, check out Bend of the River. Definitely worth watching, and definitely worth checking out if you're into classic westerns. So yeah, that's it. And as always, keep watching those Universal movies, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.